Hello class 7. Today we will start a new chapter in physics, heat. Before this we had studied about light and we discussed that light is a form of energy. Why? Because particles of light can move from one place to another and they move in a straight line path. That we had studied in the earlier chapter. Today we will study another form of energy. Just like light, how it is a form of energy, heat is also another form of energy. And why do we say heat is a form of energy? The reason is because heat cannot stay at one place. You imagine if there is a hot cup of tea kept on the table. It doesn't remain hot forever, does it? Ultimately it becomes cold. Then what happens to the heat in it? Where did that heat go? It is lost in the surrounding. Now, the temperature of the surrounding is lower compared to the temperature of the hot cup of tea. So, heat moves from a region of higher temperature to the region of lower temperature. That is the reason that hot cup of tea doesn't remain hot forever. Not forever. Just after 10 minutes you come, you will see that it has become quite cold. Okay. That's what we do, no? We keep the hot cup of tea for some time. It's not that as soon as it is served and we start drinking it. No, we wait for it to become cold. Now why does it become cold? Because heat from it is dissipated, means lost in the surrounding. Heat from a hot object is lost in the surrounding region because heat never stays at one place. It moves from a region of higher temperature to a region of lower temperature, and that is the definition of heat. Okay, I have written down the definition of heat. You can pause this video and note this definition. Whenever the definition of heat is asked, you can give this particular definition. Heat is a form of energy which moves. Okay, it doesn't stay at one place, it moves. From where to where? From the region of higher temperature to the region of lower temperature. So these are the key words. Heat moves. That's why it is called as energy, because it moves. From where to where it moves? From higher temperature region to lower temperature region. Now I have to illustrate this drawn two blocks of metal. Say there are two blocks of metal. One metal is quite hot. It is at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, this metal is at 100 degrees Celsius, and this metal block is at comparatively lower temperature, 30 degrees Celsius. Now what will happen if we touch them, make contact? As soon as you touch them, there will be a flow of heat. Okay, flow of heat, movement of heat. From which to which region? From this region to that region. From this 100 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. And how long will this transfer take place? Forever? No. Considering that no heat is lost in the surrounding, we will imagine that both of them will assume same temperature. Then only the flow of heat will stop. Assuming that no heat is given out to the surrounding, only between them the heat is exchanged. So how long will the transfer take place? Till both of them, it's not 50. Sorry, it's not 50. 100 plus 30 is 130. Half of 130 is 65. Till both of them assume 65 degrees Celsius. We are assuming that no heat is lost in the surrounding, only between them the exchange is taking place. In that case, 130 degrees. How long will they exchange heat? How long will this block of 100 degrees Celsius exchange heat with 30 degrees Celsius? Till both of them attain the same temperature. See, both of them attain the same temperature. Then only the flow of heat will stop. But in practical, it doesn't happen that way. No? Some heat is lost even to the surrounding. So let us assume that some amount of heat has been lost to the surrounding. So this is at 45 degrees Celsius, this is at 45 degrees Celsius. So 45 plus 45 is how much? 90 degrees Celsius. Then what happened to the remaining? 100 here and 30 here. Total is 130. And here only both of them combined together is 90 degrees Celsius, 45 plus 45. So where is the remaining amount of heat lost? The remaining amount of heat is lost to the surrounding. Okay, this is how transfer of heat takes place. Okay. Okay, the next topic is the factors on which the flow of heat depends. Sometimes flow of heat is very fast, sometimes flow of heat is very slow. So, how we will know the flow of heat will be, whether fast or slow? For that, we need to know these three factors. The first one is the mass of the substance. Keep in mind, more is the mass of the substance, you need more heat to increase its temperature. Okay. Like for example, suppose we are making only 1 cup of coffee. So you will put water only that is needed for 1 cup of coffee, isn't it? That water, if you start heating on a gas stove, say it will take only 5, not even 5, say 2 minutes to get heated. But suppose now you have to make 5 cups of coffee for 5 different people, no? Then you have to put equivalent amount of water to make 5 cups of coffee. That will be more, isn't it? So mass of water is more. So now to heat this water, instead of 2 minutes, now it may take more than 5 minutes. So it depends on how much is the mass of the substance. The flow of heat through this water will depend on its mass. Greater the mass, more heat you have to give. Okay, next one is rise in temperature or difference in temperature between two objects. Now, that earlier example only let me again tell. Say here two objects. One object is at 100 degrees Celsius and another is at 30 degrees Celsius. Of course, we know that flow of heat will take place, isn't it? Flow of heat. But now, suppose now another example. Now instead of 100, say this is at 200 degrees Celsius and this is at 30 degrees only. Now here also flow of heat will take place. Tell me in which case will be the flow of heat more or greater amount of heat will flow. In which case? This case or this case? Of course this case. Here the difference means this minus this. 200 minus 30 is more than 100 minus 30, isn't it? 200 minus 30 is 170 degrees Celsius. So the difference over here is more and here the difference is only 70 degrees Celsius. Here the difference is 70 degrees Celsius and here it is 170 degrees Celsius. So of course more amount of heat will flow in this case. So if the difference in temperature is more between the two objects and if contact is made between them, then the flow of heat will take more in case of the difference, the greater difference, when the difference between the two bodies in temperature is more. Okay, now the third factor. The third factor is material of the substance or what substance the object is made up of. Now we all know metals, generally all metals absorb heat. But in metals also there are some metals which absorb heat faster, some metals which absorb heat a bit slower. For example, copper and iron. If both are heated at 100 degrees Celsius, okay, I will give here, say this is copper block and this is an iron block. Of same size it has to be, okay. This is iron block. Now both are heated at 100 degrees Celsius. Okay. I hope you can see. One is copper, one is iron. Both are heated at same temperature. What do you think? Their temperatures will rise together in the same manner? No. You will see that copper gets heated faster than iron. Okay, copper will get heated faster than iron because of its material. because of copper's ability to absorb heat faster than iron. So in this regard, different materials absorb heat differently. So these are the three factors which will determine the flow of heat. First one, let us revise again. The mass of the substance. Greater mass will require greater heat. Second, rising temperature or the difference in the temperature. Okay. Just now here we learned that the difference in temperature is more, then the flow of heat also will be more. And the third one is the material the object is made up of. Okay. These are the three factors on which flow of heat depends. Next we will learn about the units of heat. How heat is measured. Any physical quantity has unit. Remember, distance is measured in meters, centimeter, kilometer. Time is measured in seconds, minutes and hours. So just like that, heat also has units. Okay. First unit is calorie. It is written in short form as cal, C-A-L. Okay. Let us discuss this one. To define calorie, this is the definition of calorie. Amount, it is the amount of heat. How much heat is 1 calorie? Okay, we are talking about 1 calorie. 1 calorie. How much is 1 calorie? It is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water. 1 gram of water. By how much? By 1 degree Celsius. And that also there is a specific temperature to specific temperature. From 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. From 14.5 to 15.5 is 1 degree Celsius. And to raise this temperature from 14.5 to 15.5 by 1 degree Celsius, how much heat is needed for 1 gram of water? This is the definition of 1 calorie. Keep in mind, how much heat is needed for 1 gram of water to increase it by 1 degree Celsius. That also from which to which degree Celsius? From 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. That is 1 calorie. Next unit is kilocalorie. Like gram and kilogram. Okay, just like that. Calorie and now kilocalorie. It is given as kilo. K calorie. C-A-L. K C-A-L. Now here the difference is, again here the definition is given for 1 kilocalorie. How much is 1 kilocalorie? It is the amount of heat. Same the definition is. Only the quantity will differ now. Calorie was for 1 gram of water. For kilocalorie, the heat for 1 kilogram of water. How much heat will be needed to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of water by 1 degree Celsius? That is from 14.5 degrees Celsius to 15.5 degrees Celsius. How much heat will be needed? That is called kilocalorie. Okay. For kilocalorie, we need 1 kg of water. And for calorie, we need 1 gram of water. In both cases, the heat needed to raise its temperature by 1 degree Celsius, that is from 14.5 to 15.5 degrees Celsius, is called calorie or kilocalorie. I hope you have understood this. So both this calorie and kilocalorie are related like this. Okay. 1 kilocalorie is equals to 1000 calorie. It is very easy to remember this. Just like in 1 kg there are 1000 grams. Just like that in 1 kilocalorie 1000 calories are there. Okay. Now there is a third unit also. The third unit is joule. Okay, joule. And in your book, page number 45, they have given it to be the SI unit, the standard unit of heat. That is, whenever we measure heat, whenever we discuss about heat, whenever we solve any numerical problems on heat, the heat will be given in its SI unit, joule. Okay. Short form we write capital J. Now joule is the name of a scientist. Okay. I don't recall his full name. It is his surname, Joule. by his name the unit of heat is given. So that's why capital J. And any unit given after a particular person in respect of that person, so the short form also we have to write capital. But when you write the full form, then we write just JOUL. No capital in that case. Okay, Joule. But in short form there is capital. Keep this in mind. Alright. Now how much is this joule? Now for that they have given over here. 1 calorie is 4.186 joules. Keep this in mind. Okay, 1 calorie is equals to 4.186 joule. So 1 kilocalorie will be how much? We know kilo means 1000. So multiply this with 1000. 1000 into 4.186. So if you have the knowledge of decimals, 1000 has 3 zeros, so point will jump 3 steps forward. So 1, 2, 3, point will come out. 4186 joules. 1 kilocalorie is 4186 joules. Okay, so this is the relation between the 3 units: calorie, kilocalorie, and joule. Joule is the SI unit. Okay, SI unit of heat. Okay, joule is the SI unit of heat. Keep this in mind. So these are the 3 units: calorie, kilocalorie. The definitions of calorie and kilocalorie are given, and it is asked what is the definition of joule. Then you will write joule is the standard unit of heat whose relationship with calorie